I tell you, nobody on YouTube can see this, but all these things are rolling around like crazy here right now. I hope they don't fall on the floor. But hello, everyone. My name is Chris. I am the man collects, or I guess I'll be the man builds here for this video. But welcome to the channel if it's your first time. Welcome back if you've watched before. Make sure if you're not subscribed, subscribe, turn on bell for notifications, all that stuff as YouTubers say. Follow me on Instagram, all that good stuff. Like the video if you do enjoy it. All right, what are we doing here today? Today we are putting together, I have never done any of the ZURU MAX sets. We found this little retro wave at Target. There are 6 of these. We're going to put together all 6 of them and take a look at them. Now these are showing up in a end-cap shipper box at Target stores, so keep an eye out if you're trying to find them. I'll have a picture probably on the thumbnail. I'll put a picture of the shipper here on the screen so you know what it looks like. All of these are well over 100 pieces. They are $7.99 each. They're $8 each, but given the piece count, and then these are much bigger than I thought they would be. They have on the display in the store, they've got the computer built in the top part of the display. They're a lot bigger than what I thought they were. We'll take a look at that once we get them built. But we're going to be building the arcade machine. We are going to be building the Polaroid camera. Hopefully these don't roll off in the floors. I'm holding them up. We got an old rotary telephone. If anybody's watching this as old as I am, you can probably remember when this stuff was actually out. Got a big stereo boombox. What is this one? We showed this one. That's the Polaroid, the video machine, the rotary phone, the boombox. Here we go. We got the computer. Sorry, guys. These things are rolling around like crazy down here. And then we got the TV. Okay, guys. Let's turn the camera off now. Let's get set up to build. Let's put these things together. Get them out of these stinking rolly balls so we can actually look at them. So, let's build.
All right, let's take a look at these things here and give some final thoughts on these as you see them all here assembled. Overall, guys, fun little builds. I mean, $8 or $7.99 a piece for these things, $8. All of them are over 100 pieces. I don't think it's that bad of a deal. ZURU, I got to say, uses some unique building practices that I haven't really seen a lot with Lego and Mega Bloks, some of the other companies. So I thought it was fun. One thing with one of them was really a little bit aggravating, but it wasn't that bad. We'll talk about that here in a second. To show you one of the books, these are the booklets they come with, kind of very reminiscent of the Lego books. One thing they do, similar to Brickcraft, I like how they put the arrows going through the brick pieces here down to where they go. Just makes it a little bit easier to figure out where these blocks go when you're putting them on these other little pieces here. But instructions very straightforward. They're great. I don't know if you can scan and download like a digital copy of this like you can with Lego, but again, the books are very helpful. Basic books for putting those together, and of course, you get an individual book with each one of the little kits there. But let's take a look at these guys. We're going to take a look at, I don't really have them ranked. I know which one's my favorites. We're going to do that one last. So let's just start over here on the side with the arcade machine. This one, you got the Alien Invasion arcade. I mean, the way they did the screen back here with the little, I guess, ships or whatever, kind of like Galaga, like you're shooting up at these things with the little wedge pieces and stuff. That was pretty fun, I got to say. Got your joystick there. I guess that's where your coin op where the coins go. I don't know what that right there is supposed to represent, but it's a cool old machine. Now, the stickers on the side were kind of aggravating to line up. You didn't have like a flat piece like you normally do with Lego to make sure both your stickers line up. I got them off a little bit, looks like, but it's not that bad. I'm okay with that. That piece up here, I actually got straight, so I'm kind of happy with that sticker placement. But stickers are very high quality as well. They felt like it almost felt like vinyl stickers rather than in regular sticker paper, but felt durable, went on great. There is your look at the whole thing there on the Alien Invasion set. Had a couple of studs here on the back. Kind of thought if you could have a accessory like a power cord or something would have been kind of neat on that, kind of like the phone cord you see here. But there you go with the Alien Invasion arcade machine. Now let's take a look at the next one. Over here, we got some more primitive technology. You got a Polaroid camera. Guys, I am old enough to remember when these things were out when I was a kid. I thought this was like the most technological advanced thing I had ever seen. You could take a picture and the picture spit out automatically there out of the camera. That was awesome. But anyway, this is a stickered piece here on this flat piece. Looks kind of cool. Of course, it fits right in the little slot there where this would have came out was an actual camera. You got your lens, your flash represented. Back here represent where your viewfinder was on these things. Now, I can't remember enough about them to remember how the actual button was that you pushed or where it would have been. But again, in my mind's eye, this looks very similar to the one my parents used to have, except theirs had a all black face on it instead of the white there. But again, nice set. I like the way it went together. The flash key looks great, and the lens assembly was cool. The way they did that with the cone pieces and stuff. It's just an awesome little set I thought to put together here, and a throwback to the old retro Polaroid cameras. And then this detail that was just that was nice. The only negative with this one, you have to be careful when you put it together when you're putting these pieces on, because there's not a lot of support on these individual black plates in here. They're really easy to pop out. You might have noticed in the time lapse build, I had to take this piece off a couple of times and keep fixing these. So just be careful when you're putting it together. Don't put a whole lot of pressure on those. It can pop those out of place and be a little bit aggravating to put together. All in all, though, enjoyed that one as well. Now, let's take a look at this. I talk about these in my videos more than I should because there's some toy versions of these I've seen at Ross back over the last couple of years, but a rotary telephone. Let me know in the comments who remembers a rotary telephone. With these guys, for those of you who are too young to remember these, like you had the 9 here, you had to put your finger on this dial and move the dial all the way around to it's just a stickered element here, a printed piece, but there'd be a metal bracket there. But you go around to there, you let it go as your 9. Then you have to go again to the 3, go again to the 5, and you repeat the phone number. If you messed a number up, you had to start all over again. But again, this is a good representation of what those phones used to look like. They were big, they were kind of blocky like this, and I like how they did the dial representation there. If they could have made this turn somehow, that would have been sweet. But again, guys, this is an $8 buildable set. It's not highly detailed, but actually for the price point, I think it is kind of nicely detailed. You got your phone cord there. Now, if that was a tangled up, spiral mess, that'd be more representative of what the phone cords actually looked like on these. And then your receiver. I thought the receiver was an interesting little build, the way it came together there, and does look like the receiver. My only thing with this, you see your studs there, and maybe I built something wrong. It'd be nice when you hang this up if that would clip down on that, but it does not. It just sits on there. So as you can see, it kind of sits a little off center. It doesn't sit flat on there, but if that does have a way to clamp onto that, I haven't figured out the alignment yet, or maybe I did something wrong, like I said, when I put it together. You got your base little studs there, one on the bottom to represent the little foot tabs on it. But yep, there is your old retro or rotary telephone. Next, take a look at the Boombox, and this is another thing that's very nostalgic for me. My dad had one of these hanging in the garage back at our house back in the day. He listened to tapes and stuff on the actual radio when he was out there working on stuff. Representations of all your knobs, your speakers. I like that the cassette door here does open, and there is a little buildable cassette inside. That's pretty sweet as well. If anybody doesn't remember what cassettes are, this was like well, actually, CDs are kind of phasing out now, I guess, but back in the day, you had to have these to listen to music. Let's put it that way. And you put it inside your door. There would have been a slot on that. Then you pushed it up in there, and you had your play buttons and rewind and all that in there. But oh, just nostalgic stuff from the youth of the man collects or man builds or whatever you want to call me. But once again, another good representation of one of the older forms of technology there that I grew up with, and really glad to have these stuff in my little brick built collection. All right, now we've taken a look at most of these. I'm down to my 2 favorites now. My 2 favorites are the old computer and the tube TV. So the runner-up is going to be this computer. I remember when I was in 8th grade taking computer literacy classes, this was the kind of computers that we used. Now, I do not remember the brand. I think there were IBMs. We played Oregon Trail. You had the little typing word per minute simulator crap you used to do, but you had a floppy disk drive here where you put the disk in. You had a green power button here that would burn. And of course, you had big old corded mice. I mean, they were enormous back in the day of the ones that we had. This is a very good representation of that. And then, of course, you had your corded keyboards, and everything wasn't wireless like it is nowadays. You had a cord actually connecting the computer to the keyboard. I kind of thought that was interesting. It's kind of plain and all that detail, but still, that looks like the old keyboards from back in the day. So I was kind of impressed with that. The simple design, but again, it represents what it's supposed to represent. I thought in a good way. The mouse was the same thing with your right and left click buttons there. I don't remember. I think the ones I used back then had different color buttons on them. But you know, I'm 43 now. This is when I was 13. This was 30 years ago. I can't exactly remember all that, but I like how they use the black curve pieces here to kind of give the screen. Looks like it's got the contour of one of those old tube screens. Used to be on the computers. And look at this, guys. Back in the days, computers used to be this thick. You know, this was an all-in-one unit, but the monitors were enormous back then. They weren't flat screen like they are now. But again, I really enjoy this retro stuff, guys. This kind of takes me back to the primitive technologies we had when I was a kid. Now, with this set, I did have one issue with it, and that was the cords, the rope that attaches. You got these little black pieces here that have a little eyelet. You have to tie this nylon rope to each end of this and then plug them in here on the studs they go on. The ropes that came with the set were too short. By the time you tied them, I mean, it was very hard to move this keyboard around. By the time I tied knots in this one for the mouse, it was actually, I couldn't move it past about right here. So all I did, I bought some nylon at Walmart. I got a big spool of it for like $3, and I just cut some pieces off and I made them longer. So when I set this down and display it, I can actually have the mouse and the keyboard out like it would have been back in the day, instead of having the mouse all the way back here and the keyboard kind of bunched up right against it, like it was when I first put it together with the ropes they provided. But is it a huge negative? No, but it did kind of take away from the set a little bit. And then when you put it down here, it just didn't look right with the mouse all the way back there. But once again, a quick little, $3. I didn't have to buy as big a spool as I did. You can get smaller spools of it, but I thought I might need it again for something. So I got a good size amount of the nylon there. But again, nice set, like what it represents. Again, takes me back to the good old days. And then, guys, my favorite one right here, the old tube TV. Oh, I can remember playing NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Nintendo, all that good stuff on one of these we had in my house when I was a kid. The tubes in these, after a while, is what made the screen light up, would start to go out, and it would get kind of discolored, or it get kind of wavy where you couldn't see it. The one we had, we used to have to pick it up on the side and drop it and jar the thing, and it would straighten the picture up. And I can remember my brother and I arguing when it would start messing up, who was going to get up and drop the TV, to get it to work properly. My dad and I, we used to change the tubes out in them every now and then, not realizing to years later how dangerous that was for them blowing up or electrical shock or whatever. But we changed many of them back in the day. And of course, you had your antennas that usually are on top of them. That's how you got your signal to pick up your channels. Now that actually predates me a little bit. The ones we had, we didn't have to worry about doing that. I just realized I've got that on a little bit backward. Let's do that and hide that hole in that. There we go. Now it's prettier. But again, guys, this is awesome. My grandmother had one of these TVs up until the time almost she passed away that was still functioning properly. That thing was probably 30 or 40 years old at that time. So once again, that's my favorite there, the old tube TV. Anybody that missed out on one of these things or had never messed with one, check them out. Another thing about these old TVs, these things weighed like what felt like 1,000 pounds. And nowadays, a TV, you can pick it up pretty much one-handed and carry it around. These things back in the day, like a 13-inch or a 19-inch one, weighed like 60 or 70 pounds. I mean, they were enormous TVs. But again, this was a very fun little set from ZURU. Been trying some different brick built sets outside of the normal Lego stuff. I've been really enjoying these. ZURU, depending on what they had, I would buy some more. I'm very glad I got these. I found these at Target stores. I don't know if they're Target exclusives, so you can check Walmart, Amazon, or something like that. But again, if you enjoy brick built sets, you love this old retro stuff, I think this will be up your alley. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Do all that good stuff us YouTubers like. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, turn on your bell for notifications, and I will see you. Oh, follow me on Instagram too. Don't forget that. And I'll see you the next time the man builds.